You can also download this podcast on SoundCloud, Podomatic, and iTunes. Sorry, I'm cracking up right now. Try this again. Nope, not going to happen. Let's try again.
No, you're never going to get through it.
All right, try one more time. If I don't get it, I'll have to do it later, but okay. You can also download this podcast.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, goodness gracious. Everyone, and welcome to the 9th episode of the Cantina Chatter podcast. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Jennifer Terek of the Bryce Dallas Howard Network to discuss some of our favorite things from the 90s, including Knowledge Adventure's 3D dinosaur adventure computer game. Hi, Jennifer, and welcome to the Cantina.
Hi, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited that you're able to join us this week, and this should be fun. We're going to have a little bit of a walk down memory lane, talking about some nostalgic stuff from the 90s and lots of fun stuff, so I'm pretty excited about it.
I know. I mean, I'm a deep child of the 90s, and so all of this stuff was, like, imprinted my entire life, so I'm excited to go back and revisit some things.
Nice. So we've talked off and on about growing up in the 90s and some of the fun things we remember from those days. And I thought this would be a fun concept for one of these episodes. I think that our generation is in a unique position because we were essentially the last kids to grow up without the internet and without cell phones and all of this new technology. But we were still kids when the switch to all of those things happened. And then you throw things in like 9/11, which, radically changed the country and changed the world. And it really makes for a generation with a unique perspective on life before and after all of those things, in my opinion. Do you agree with that assessment? And what are your thoughts about this idea?
Maybe in like 2010 or so, I wrote a random, on Facebook, you can just write little journal things. I haven't done it since then, but I had a random thought about this and I considered it because I thought, okay, you're right though, because I didn't have internet in my house until I was maybe 12 or so. And before that, you're right, the computers and none of that really existed. We had a computer because my dad fixes computers. That's what he does for a living. And so I've always had computers in my house. Mm-hmm. But yeah, internet didn't come till 2002, 2001-ish. And we, like you said, we played outside. We did all that stuff. And then we grew up with it, which is so unique to our generation. No other generation can say that we were kids when you were supposed to be kids, and then at the age when you can start to learn technology, that's when it develops. So we literally grew up as naturally as we should have with it. That's so unique. That's incredible, I think, because kids now, they never had the pre. Right at the proper age is when it started to come in, I think, around 12 for me.
Yeah, and that's a really good way to put it, is that you could be a kid without all of those sorts of things. And then, when it came time to, when you got older and you started learning about computers in school and stuff, you could kind of gradually go into that. And kids these days are kind of just like, boom, technology's there from the time they're born for the rest of their lives, presumably. So it's a pretty big difference between now and the way things were in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would feel like. We had such a natural progression of it and how it should be. I mean, the right ages, the right technology happened and we grew with it, and look where it is now, and we're the proper age to handle it now. So I couldn't imagine totally bypassing those first 10 years of my life and going right into this. That's way too much sensory overload, I think, for young kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would tend to agree with that. I'm really glad, and really, I think we're fortunate to have gotten to experience what it was like, because some people say, or younger people might say, like, well, how did you do it without the internet? How did you do it without Twitter? But it's kind of like, well, we got by pretty well without those things.
Yeah. And we had the best of both worlds because I guess we didn't know what we were missing. Like now, if I looked at it, I wouldn't want to be without Twitter because it does connect you with everybody. Like right now, I would not know you. I would not be doing this podcast, so it has its perks. But yeah, it was the perfect natural progression because when you're 9, 8, you don't really want to do this. We're the right age for this, so it really is the perfect age. Kids born in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, that was a obviously once in a lifetime thing for that. That's amazing. I'm glad. I'm proud to be in that bracket.
Yeah, totally. Same here. And I think we got a computer in my home, and I think it was maybe 95, I want to say. Or maybe even like 93, 94, but it would have been a really archaic computer by today's standards.
Did you have DOS and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I remember my dad teaching me how to use DOS when I was super, super little. That's I never really got the hang of it. Just a few commands and that's about it.
Yeah, it would have been some really old school stuff. And I think internet, I think you mentioned you got it in your home around 2000. I think we got it like 2001, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. I think I have a weird timeline for this because I've always been in fandom my entire life. Some fandom, some way. And I know what fandom I was in when I got internet. So that's kind of how I could tell what year it was. It was about 2001 when we got it because that's when my opened my fandom eyes to, oh my goodness, there's websites and there's GeoCities and there's all this stuff that have websites. No, there's no social media, but I mean very archaic message boards and such. And that kind of blew my mind as an 11-year-old fangirl. So I remember it was around then, 2001. But I mean, it was dial-up, of course. It was super slow, and you couldn't use the phone or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you'd have to. I remember we had this really long wire because our computer wasn't even positioned next to the phone jack, right? So we had it like on one side of the room, and the phone jack was like on a totally different side of the room. So we had this really long wire, and we had to connect it. And we're like, okay, I'm going to plug in the computer to the phone line. Just be careful not to trip on it or anything. And then once you did that, you had to dial it up, and it was a very long process. And you'd hear all these weird beeps and sounds, and oh gosh, kids these days just don't know how good they have it.
I vividly remember the day that we got cable internet because I was on Neopets a lot. I was a big Neopets person. And playing those games on Neopets with dial-up was painful. I mean, they worked, but you couldn't play all of them, and it was very, very, very slow. But as soon as the day that I got cable internet and I went on Neopets to play a game, it was like Christmas. It was amazing. Like I could actually play the games, and they worked, and they were good, and they weren't slow. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get so many Neo points now. I was so excited that day.
Nice. So the 90s were such a great time to grow up. Before we had all of these things, even smartphones were still a long way off. We did play outside, as you mentioned, and we played with toys and spent Saturday mornings watching cartoons. And we did play computer games and handheld consoles like Nintendo Game Boy and Sega Game Gear. And since it was a different time, and in my opinion, maybe even a more innocent time, people seem to get along a little bit better. What is your overall take of being a kid in the 90s?
Well, I remember basically playing video games every single day of my life, every day. Me and my best friend should sleep over, and I had a pole, so would swim and would ride bikes, and then would come in and play video games. Would play Mario Kart and like that Diddy Kong Racing and Sega. I have a Sega Genesis. We used to play that, and then regular Nintendo. I mean, we played video games through my life. So
Nice.
it's not much different, I guess, than kids now playing on computers and playing on their phone because we literally sat in front of that TV with a game console for most of my childhood. Or it was Pokemon, either Pokemon like actual like Pokemon cards and Pokemon toys, or video games. That's basically what from 7 years old to internet to 12. That's what it was every day.
Nice. In my home, we really weren't like hardcore video game people. I had two siblings, and they're both a little bit younger. I think the main thing I remember like having is like when we were really little, like super super little. This would have been like late 80s or so. We had like one of those Ataris, and
I never had one. I never even touched an Atari. That's before me, I think. I've never ever had one of those.
It's pretty different technology. I mean, especially compared to now, of course. But I'm trying to remember how we inherited it because I think we got it from a relative or something or maybe an aunt or an uncle that gave it to us. but we had games on it like Frogger and I think like Pac-Man, stuff like that. And it was fun at the time, but we kind of outgrew it. And then the next thing I remembered was having like a Game Boy. I remember getting a Game Boy from my grandmother for Christmas, I think maybe 1990 or so. I think after that, we didn't really do too much until maybe like more closer to the mid 90s. I remember my brother got a Nintendo 64. And that did have some of those like the Diddy Kong Racing and like Donkey Kong and all of those like fun games and stuff. So we did have a lot of fun doing that. But I think after that, we didn't even have anything else until maybe like the first Xbox, which was several years later.
I got the GameCube after my 64, and that was it. I kind of grew out of it after that. But yeah, about the inheriting, that's true. That happened with me too. I got my regular Nintendo because I'm one of the youngest of. I have a bunch of cousins, and I'm one of the youngest, and so I got a lot of their toys. Hence, why I'm into Jurassic too, because a lot of them are boys, and I got a lot of their hand-me-down toys when they were done with it, and a lot of them were dinosaurs, and a lot of these video games as well. And I got my regular Nintendo from my older cousins when I was like 7 and all their games, and they were all like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. and then, and then I got Sega from another cousin, and those were Power Rangers. So I was so into Power Rangers, so into Power Rangers.
Sure.
I was a Power Ranger for Halloween in kindergarten. I was a Power Ranger for Halloween. And then 64, which was my livelihood when I was like 9 through 12 or so. That was my life on there. 64. I still love Nintendo 64.
Oh, yeah, it's terrific.
Great system.
Yeah, one of the games I remember playing with my brother all the time was Perfect Dark. And what was fun about it is it was one of those games, like one of the first ones, I think, where you could actually like customize it and stuff. So you could set up like a specific level, and then you could pick your weapons, and you could rig like different areas of the game and stuff. And we just had hours of fun playing that. Have you ever played that one?
Never heard of that. No. You know what game I really loved? Me and my friend played Mario Party all the time. I had all of them. I had 1, 2, 3, and the reason I got a GameCube was because you can only get Mario Party 4 on a GameCube. So that's why I bought the GameCube, so I can get number 4. But we loved Mario Party. We played that constantly.
Nice.
Yeah, I never heard of that game before.
Yeah, they. I think that was the first one that they came out with. But then I think when the Xbox 360 came out, they did a new version of it. But it just wasn't the same.
I know. I never really played an Xbox. My only experience on Xbox was I played Lego Jurassic World like last year on it. That was my first time touching an Xbox. But I do remember, and I'm sure you do as well, the Tony Hawk games on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was huge. I don't know why that was so huge, but that was universally huge for like that age and that year. I remember everybody knew that game and everybody loved that game. I don't know. There's nothing really super special about it, but it really was impactful for that year. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like thinking back during that time, I think like sports games were really popular, like early 2000s.
Yeah,
I remember everybody was playing them.
I guess I'm kind of moving into the 2000s. I'm trying to stay in the 90s, but I'm moving into it because we start and it progresses. Okay, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna move back. Okay.
So one of the things I have here on the list of nostalgic things from the 90s is television shows. From daytime kids shows on Nickelodeon to TGIF and Saturday morning cartoons. There was no shortage of children's programming on TV, and I know that I spent a lot of time watching many of these shows and have a soft spot for a lot of them. What were some of your favorite television shows from the 90s?
Oh my, big question. Okay. I live and breathe Nickelodeon when I was younger. That was it. I never watched the Disney Channel. I never watched Fox or WB, any of that. And I only watched Cartoon Network for Scooby-Doo. That was it. But I lived and breathed Nickelodeon. So Nick Jr., anything in that realm, Nickelodeon. I mean, Are You Afraid of the Dark was my life. Oh, literally, yeah. I loved it. I still love it. I make people watch it now with me. Like, I really, really, really love it. And Goosebumps. Obviously, I'm a scary person. I love scary things. So Goosebumps and Rocko's Modern Life. And I mean, Hey Arnold, the whole Golden Snick, Kenan and Kel. I loved Kenan and Kel. Legends of the Hidden Temple, all those game shows they used to have on Double Dare. Oh, all those. And when they had the thing at Universal Studios with the slime and all of that, you'd come up with a skull and put on that slime, and they'd be spinning the wheel or something.
Nice.
Oh, how about Lamb Chop? I used to watch what is it? The WQED, that public television, because my grandpa didn't have cable and I'd be over there a lot.
Uh,
And I love Lamb Chop. Mr. Rogers, he's from here.
oh
Mr.
gosh.
Rogers is from like the town next to me. He's from
That's
here.
awesome.
And do you ever hear of, this is obscure kind of. There was a Lamb Chop movie like for Halloween called Lamb Chop in the Haunted Studio. Did you ever watch that?
I don't remember
Do you have
that
any
one.
recollection? I hope
Mm-mm.
somebody listening has recollection because that was a big part of me as well. It was like a lamb chop Halloween special, and that was a big deal. So I guess, oh, and Bill Nye and Carmen Sandiego on Zoom, all of those WQED and Nickelodeon, that was basically my DNA at that point in the 90s for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
What did you like?
Nickelodeon was really huge, like in our household, like especially during the summers when, we would be home. Like my parents would be at work and, we had a caretaker that would come over and she'd be there at our home with me and my siblings. And that's basically what we would do all day during the week is just watch Nick Jr. and then the shows, that was just our thing. We would do that. And it was easy for her because, all we were doing was watching TV and she was doing whatever she was doing. But this might be going a little bit farther back, but do you remember Nick Jr. used to do shows like there was one called Eureka's Castle?
Yes, very vaguely. I was probably pretty little, but I do remember that. I think I remember the theme song or something.
It had
Very
a
little. I just
hilarious
remember very
song.
little. I think there was a window. Was there a window? Or maybe that was Allegra's window, or am I making this up? Was Allegra's window a thing?
Uh,
Or am I making it?
hmm, I don't know. You might be making
Oh
that
my
one
god.
up.
I don't know. I'm Googling. I think that's a thing.
Nice.
It was a thing. Oh my goodness. On Nick Jr. from 94 to 96.
Huh.
Oh wow, it's a weird guy with puppets. Okay, I don't remember any of that, but I remember the name.
Yeah, there was also one that I remember. Another one was let's see. There was Eureka's Castle, and then there was David the Gnome. Did you ever see that one?
No, nope,
There
I
was
don't know
that
that one.
one, and Maya the bee. It was like about this little bee with a weird haircut that would fly around and stuff.
Wow, I never heard of that either, and that's on Nick Jr.
Yeah, but this probably would have been like earlier in the 90s.
Hmm. I remember Little Bear and Franklin
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
oh, it's like nothing's. That was a lot. I mean, we were pretty little. That's a long time to remember.
Yeah,
Did I watch
I
it?
know they changed the programming up to like every few years, so this might have been like before they changed to these other ones. But yeah, I remember those, and then I remember at 1 p.m. it would be Lassie would come on, and I don't think they did
Oh,
that. Yeah, but it was kind of random because you'd have all these Nick Jr. cartoons, and then they would show Lassie, which was from the 50s.
oh,
So
well, if you want to touch on sitcoms, my goodness. I mean, when I used to go over to my grandma's house in the early '90s, sitcoms everywhere. I mean, I grew up on that, like Lucy and like Mama's Family, loved so much, and Laverne and Shirley and Three's Company, like those were big at my grandma's house as well. So that's older, but that also impacted my '90s life as well.
oh yeah, same
Love
here,
that stuff.
totally.
Love it.
Those would come on also on Nick at Night, and you had like the Brady Bunch and all these
Oh
different
yeah,
shows. Yeah, oh yeah, and we'd watch them too.
totally grew up on that. Totally, I know, totally grew up on those ones. It's weird because yeah, that's a '90s thing because that's what was in on Nick at Night in the '90s, but it's old stuff. But I'd still consider that Nick at Night '90s. So yeah, I actually had a game. It was a Nick at Night trivia game. I bought this when I was little because I'm a dork that way, and I bought a Nick at Night trivia game because I really loved everything on Nick at Night at one point. And I love Lucy as well. I have Lucy
Nice.
games as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember Snick. You mentioned that, and I think when it
Yeah.
first started, like in the mid '90s or so, there was like I think Are You Afraid of the Dark was definitely one of them. There was a show called Roundhouse, and I think it lasted like a couple of years.
I've heard of it. I never saw it. I know Ren and Stimpy was always on before You Play the Dark, and my parents wouldn't really let me watch Ren and Stimpy. I guess they didn't think it was appropriate. I was what, 4 or 5 or so when I used to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, and so that was fine apparently. But Ren and Stimpy was too adult for me, so I don't know.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, I think, started out as a Nicktoons, and it was kind of like I think I want to say it was on Sunday mornings, where, they were trying to kind of combat like the Saturday morning cartoons on, the basic cable channels. And it was Ren and Stimpy, Doug, and Rugrats. And then as the years progressed, I think they moved Ren and Stimpy to Snick, I believe. And the other one stayed, at least for a little while before. I think they moved Doug to Disney Channel after that. But yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, and do you remember the TV guides that used to come, like the TV graphics and stuff that used to come in the newspaper? Because
oh
that's the
yeah,
only way you knew what was going to be on TV.
totally.
And it sometimes put the little episode title or episode description in, and you're so happy when there was an episode description. You're like, oh, yay! Because sometimes they didn't always put that in there, and you're like, well, I don't know what episode it is or something. And
Right.
I remember the TV graphics. Wow, that goes. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
I hadn't either until you mentioned it. Were you ever a fan of the shows that would come on like in the evenings? Like there was TGIF on Fridays, but I think like during the week there was also other shows. I remember Full House was a big one. I think that one was on Tuesdays.
I never really got into that stuff because I know Home Improvement. I remember Home Improvement being on, and that was a signal that it was time to leave my grandma's house. I guess whatever time it came on, it was like, oh well, it's time to go. So it might have been 9 or so, I don't know. But
Gotcha.
that's my only memory of Home Improvement. Sabrina. Oh, Sabrina the
Oh
Teenage
yeah.
Witch. Loved that. And Clarissa Explains It All. Loved that too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In the Power Rangers. Oh, and all the we had a video rental place in my small town, and I used to get all of the Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen movies from there when they were kids. That and Power Rangers is what I used to rent all the time.
That's hilarious. I remember, I remember doing that too. That's what we would do like on the weekends. Is we didn't have Netflix or anything like that. We would just go to the video store and we would rent a movie. And sometimes my mom would say, "Oh, okay, well, all three of you can rent your own movie. Just take turns watching it."
Yeah, I remember renting video games, and me. I like I said before, I love scary stuff. I so much scary movies, scary shows. Love it. Goosebumps books, huge, all that.
Uh,
And me and my friend would always go to the scary section and try to find scary things to rent all the time. And I do remember that the moment where my small town rental, they actually cleared out shelves to put in DVDs. Like that was the new thing to put in DVDs. And I remember looking at this and being like, "Whoa, you can get bonus features! Like these are my favorite movies being on DVDs now." And I remember looking on the back and thinking, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing! The people who are privileged to have a DVD player can watch behind the scenes of my favorite movies." I was blown away and thinking, "Well, that's just too cool for me. I'll never be able to see that stuff. That's like better. That's bigger than me. I can't even touch that kind of thing." Because the Mummy movies were my thing when I was really little, and I remember when the Mummy 1999 one came on DVD and landed on that shelf, and I remember looking on the back of it and thinking, "Oh man, I want to see these bonus features so bad. I probably never will," kind of thing.
yeah, it's funny. I kind of remember that too vaguely when DVDs started taking over. But I remember like with films, like when they would come out, like that, like new releases, they would be like a little bit more expensive, and you could keep
Mm-hmm.
them like a shorter amount of time. And then if it was like an older movie that you rented, it was a little less expensive, and then you could keep it for like 5 days or something crazy.
Yeah, I think you can like rent them for $1 for 5 days or something. This was my little small place, but I mean, even like grocery stores, used to be able to rent movies from grocery stores. So, do you remember doing that? Did you ever have that?
We didn't do that. I think that we had an Albertsons grocery store in our neighborhood, but that didn't come in until I was a little bit bigger. I think maybe like later 90s. And I remember they had rentals like that there. But for the most part, I think we had like Blockbuster, and we also had Hollywood Video. I think
Mm-hmm.
was the really big one. And then we had like one local one. And I'm trying to remember what it was called. I don't even remember. It was like Video Central or something. But gosh, such a long time ago.
Yeah, I actually never had a Blockbuster card or Hollywood Video card. We did all of ours. We have a Giant Eagle. I don't know if anyone's heard of Giant Eagle. So I never really went to the classic Blockbuster or Hollywood Video. We had them, but I never really did that because Giant Eagle had everything and it was closer.
Gotcha. Now, were you a fan of the Dinosaurs TV show? Is that something you remember? It was like kind of these like humanoid type
Um,
dinosaurs.
yeah, that was a thing I remember at my grandma's house. Again, it was one of the things that was just on TV when I was playing or whatever we were doing. I remember it being on what years did that come out? 'Cause I remember it being on TV, but I never really paid attention because it seemed like a grown-up show, and I was probably pretty little.
Let's see here. Dinosaurs TV show. That came out in, oh wow, this is a long time ago. It says 1991 to 1994.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense then. Yes, that's about the years I'd be over my grandma's house, and that was probably I was like 4 in '94 because I was born in '89, 4 or 5, and so about the time where I looked at it and think, okay, that's an adult show. It looked like an adult show to a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, whatever, and that was my only experience with that. I think my older cousins had toys like from McDonald's or something.
Yeah, yeah, like little puppets.
Yeah, I remember that being around my grandma's house. So the toys and then it randomly being on TV is my only memory of that.
Yeah, I remember those toys. They had like a long, like a, I guess maybe, I don't know, I was going to say like it's a hydraulic system, but I doubt it for a little Happy Meal toy. But yeah, it had like a long, like plastic wire with a little handle, and you would squeeze the handle and like the arms would move and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh man, those are like high tech McDonald's toys. Now
Oh, yeah.
they're not cool at all, but yeah, the toys, McDonald's toys back then. Remember when the Happy Meals used to come in like the trick or treat buckets that you can actually
Yeah.
take?
Oh my God. Yes. That was like
I
my
have those.
favorite thing.
And then they came in like little cardboard houses. Like didn't Happy Meals come in cardboard boxes or something?
Yeah, I think they do now. For a while, they
Yeah.
went to bags, and I think they brought those back a few years ago. The boxes.
Awesome. The box. I mean, those are vintage. Those boxes are awesome. And then
Yeah.
remember they used to give away plates. Like I have Hercules plates. Like,
Oh yeah.
you bought the plates.
My mother has them at her house still. Yeah, I think we have like different plates that have the McDonald's characters. There's like the Hamburglar and
Oh my goodness, we
the
have
Fry
those.
Guys.
Yeah, because we have like the double decker bus one.
That
Wow,
sounds
yeah.
familiar. And I know that there were some Halloween ones, and at the holidays they'd have like Christmas ones.
They don't do any. McDonald's doesn't do anything like that anymore.
They sure don't. When I was a kid, my
Oh,
dad used to take me to McDonald's. This was like when I was in preschool, but you know, like he would take care of me on it because he would work nights. He would take care of me during the day, but then, you know, I'd go to preschool and stuff, and he would take me to McDonald's like every single day. But most of the time, we wouldn't even like get food. I would usually just go and play and stuff. So that was fun.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember. Yeah, everyone always goes in the play. I was a really, really, really shy kid though when I was little. Really shy. Like I wouldn't leave my parents ever, and I wouldn't talk to a strange kid or anything. So if I wanted to go in the play place, I had to drag my dad with me, and he had to be like right next to it or something, or I forced him to crawl in the smaller ones. I don't know. I was a very, very shy kid, so I wanted to play, but until I went to school and met friends and stuff, I always like 3-year-old me had to have my dad with me in the ball pit and stuff.
Nice. I was pretty similar. I was very, even now I'm still really shy and very quiet and pretty reserved and stuff. But
Yeah, me
yes,
too.
especially back then, I was, you know, if I saw a few kids playing like in the slides and stuff, I'd be like, no, I think I'm good. We can go home.
Yeah, I would hide. I couldn't do that. I'm still pretty shy. I mean, college kind of got rid of that a little bit, but before that, I'm a shy person. Back to Halloween really quick. Do you remember on Nickelodeon? This randomly popped in my head when I mentioned the Halloween buckets. Do you remember Nickelodeon used to do this thing for Halloween where you call in and then you go to these, it's a game and you go to different houses to get prizes or something? Do you remember that at all? They do it in between shows, I think, and it would only be 30 seconds. It'd be really quick. And it was like Nick or Treat or something, and then they'd go. I remember kids used to call in, and then they'd have to pick house numbers in a certain amount of time, and then they'd get prizes if they picked the right numbers.
Huh. That sounds interesting, but I don't remember that. I think that might have been when I started getting out of Nickelodeon, maybe.
I don't know when that was. The point though, Nickelodeon, McDonald's, they don't do anything like that anymore. You look back at, and they used to be so involved in the Legends of the Hidden Temple and the games, like I mentioned before. They don't do anything interactive like that anymore.
No, they don't. Those shows were amazing. There was like Double Dare and let's see what else. Yeah, Legends of the Hidden Temple is classic. And there was another one. I'm trying to remember what it was. What would you do?
Oh my gosh! And the wall of doors, and you pick up you get coins, and you pick out the doors, and you'll get like pie or a shirt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. This Nick or Treat thing, it says like 92, 93. It says if Halloween that aired it must have been a Halloween day from 1985 to 2002. So it went pretty long. I didn't know that. I just
Oh,
remember it from really little, but 85 to 2002. Wow.
wow. I don't know how I missed that then. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a telephone contest. Something. Yeah, I remember that like 1 year or so. Oh no, I Googled this. I see all these old ads, like all these old Nickelodeon ads. Oh my goodness, the old. Okay.
Oh, I love watching that stuff. Like you can go on YouTube and watch like McDonald's commercials from the 90s and like Nickelodeon like episodes, and it's pretty hilarious how much stuff is people actually took the time to record and then one day said, "Hey, I'm going to throw this on YouTube."
I have tons of VHS recordings and stuff, so who knows? I probably have stuff too. That reminded me. Do you know Stick Stickly? Do you remember Stick Stickly?
Yes, I do remember Stick Stickly.
And Flat Stanley. Remember when Flat Stanley was a thing?
Flat Stanley. I'm going to have to look that one up.
That was I have a funny story about Flat Stanley. I think this was in second grade. Second grade, we in class all made Flat Stanley. He's basically just like a little cardboard cutout of a person that you draw. And the thing was though, he travels around the world or something, and everywhere that he's been, like he keeps a journal of everywhere he's been or something. And we were able to mail our Flat Stanley to famous people, kind of. It was like we picked a name out of a hat, and it was either political famous people, regular famous people, just, I don't even know what kids got because I was in second grade, but I got Hillary Clinton, and so I got to write a letter and mail my Flat Stanley to her, and I got a presidential package back from her, or like a political, her husband, Bill Clinton, was the president at the time, and so I got the first lady. And I remember mailing my Flat Stanley to the first lady, and then only a few people in the class got responses from their people they mailed to. And I got a response from her. I got like a little presidential packet for kids and stuff, and I think a letter back from her. So I have a letter from Hillary Clinton from
Wow,
second
that's
grade.
awesome. So you still have that?
That's like life. I have someplace. It was a whole envelope full of stuff, like for kids to get into college, like just to understand. It was for like a White House kids packet that they just have and give away. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't know if anyone had Bill Clinton. Maybe, I don't remember if someone might have had him. They might have got the same package. I don't remember at all. I don't remember what anyone else had. I just know that they were like notable people that I literally just picked it out of a hat, and I got her name, and I wasn't able to choose it or anything. I just picked it, and that's who I sent my Flat Stanley to. And my Flat Stanley went to the White House, and I don't know what happened to him after that. You don't get him back, so I don't know where he is.
Speaking of McDonald's, like I didn't even have this on my list of things to talk about, but now that I'm thinking about it, do you remember that like all the restaurants back then, like fast food and stuff, had like kids meals? Like Burger King did, Chick-fil-A had kids meals, and even Pizza Hut. Like I remember they used to have these kids packs, and they had like, I remember there was like for Eureka's Castle, for example, and then even like Beauty and the Beast, they had these little hand puppets that you would get. And going back even further, and this would have been like in the 80s, but they had even like Land Before Time. It was always these little puppets that were really like cool. They would fit over your whole hand, and they're pretty collectible.
I think, okay, I got one from McDonald's, the dinosaur. Like it was, I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but it's a hand puppet, and it's like it's a rubber hand puppet, and it was from Dinosaur, that Disney movie from years ago. And it was the Iguanodon from Dinosaur.
Oh, cool. Aladar.
Like a premium toy. Like, that's pretty cool, yeah. I mean, now you get little plastic junk, I guess, but you got like a whole rubber hand puppet back in the day from McDonald's.
It was awesome. The toys back then, and not just with Happy Meals, but also with like the cereal boxes. Those came with like legit toys back then.
Goodness, you're right. I forgot about the cereal boxes. Oh, I wanted to bring up when you mentioned Pizza Hut. Did you ever do Book It when you were a kid?
Yes, I totally did Book It.
Did you get the medal? Because I remember the time I did get the medal. I finished my little pin and I got the medal. I remember doing that with Pizza Hut.
I don't remember getting a medal, or anything, but I was always really excited when Book It came around, and like you got your little certificate at school, and then you go to Pizza Hut and you got your little kids pack or whatever it was, and it was always so exciting. It was like the highlight of my like week whenever that happened.
And you know what's funny here? The books that I used for Book It were all Goosebump books. Every book was a Goosebump book.
Oh, that's awesome. I was totally into Goosebumps.
Yeah, I had many. Do you remember like the Scholastic book, the ones that you mail away? Like you got the little magazines in school, and then they were like Scholastic ordering books or something, and then the school mails away, and then you get them. The best way I can explain it,
Yeah.
but it's like a mail order from school. But it seemed cool because it was like through the teacher and through the little Scholastic magazine. And I remember they used to have on the back page um, clubs, I guess, like monthly memberships, and you pay that monthly and you get stuff. And we did a Goosebumps one, and I used to get these Goosebump packages like monthly, weekly, I don't remember. But I got all this weird like Goosebumps stuff. I got one of the dummy books like in a trilogy, and when you push it, it makes a noise. Like it had a noise feature to it or something.
I remember that. We also had the Scholastic Book Fair, and that would come around like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
They would set up like these huge cases in the library, and then you could go in and you could buy books. And I remember that being a big thing too.
Yeah, I remember looking for everything scary, every possible scary book I could find. I have a lot of scary storybooks. Oh, speaking of scary storybooks, how about those horrifying scary stories? Like they're what, the scary stories you could tell in the dark or something? Those
Yeah.
black and white illustrations,
Oh
those
yeah.
things that horrified little kids, and I loved it so much.
Yeah.
There's
Very
three
disturbing.
of them. My gosh, that was amazing. I love those books. They're gonna make a movie about that.
Really?
Did you hear that they're making? Yes, I mean, it's been like a couple years in the making. I don't know exactly when it's coming out, but they're making a movie on that, and I'm very excited.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. One of the coolest things about the Goosebumps books, I think, were the covers. Like each of them had like a really
Oh
detailed
yeah.
cover.
Now it bothers me that the covers are all different. Like if you go and look at them now, the illustrations are different. And they look so different, and it's just not right. Like they're
Right.
not the
Yeah.
originals, and that bothers me. I love my originals. I have all of them. I think I have all of them. I have them in my rollerblade box. If that doesn't show age, a big rollerblade box, and they're all in there.
Nice. There was one book that we would always fight over, and like especially like around Halloween. It was called Scary Scary Halloween, and it was basically like, I mean, it was a kid's book, but it was illustrated and it had all these like pictures of like kids going on trick or treating and stuff, and they were each dressed as like a different kind of monster. And I mean, when you look at the book, at least initially, it looks like they're all really monsters, but then at the very end, it reveals that they were just kids trick or treating. I really remember that one pretty fondly. In fact, I think when I was in college, I went back and I bought it a second time, like, you know, as an adult.
I have books like that as well, and I went back and I rebought or bought ones. Like there was this one. This is such a tangent, but there was this one book that I loved in elementary school. It was called Shadow. It was such a simple book, but it was like about Africa, like African. It was like a poem book. It's the weirdest thing, but that appealed to me so much, and that was my favorite book for no reason whatsoever. It wasn't really scary. It was just very compelling, and it was poetic, and it was just weird images, and it was called Shadow. Yeah, I bet nobody in the world ever has even touched that book other than me, but that's a very prominent book for my young 90s self.
Now, in addition to the TV shows, because going back to the list here,
Oh yeah.
we had a bunch of movies in the '90s, and including obviously Jurassic Park, but there were so many other ones on there that I remember very fondly growing up with. Like, you know, there was Disney movies, and there was like live action movies and adventure movies and all sorts of stuff. What are some of the films that you remember pretty fondly, and which are your favorite?
Oh, that's a good. Okay, I'm not gonna go with the obvious. I'm gonna avoid Disney because that's duh. I mean, that was the golden age of Disney. Everybody adored it. That's a given.
Yeah.
Power Rangers. Again, I love Power Rangers, but I'm not gonna touch on that because that's a given. I'm gonna go with the Page Master. Do you remember the Page Master?
Shoot. I kind of vaguely remember it. I'm not. If I saw it, it was probably just like one time. I don't remember it too well.
That one. And Matilda was big.
I remember that.
I'm trying to think. The Disney's Tower of Terror movie with Kristen Dunst and whoever else was in that movie.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
That was a big deal. And okay, here's the door coming out. I used to watch History Channel's Haunted History. That actually has mega feels for me. I used to VHS record Haunted History from the History Channel and watch that, and the travel channels, haunted hotels, and all of that. That was a lot of what I watched when I was a kid. There was these little Disney princess movies that had like sparkly covers, and it was just Ariel, Jasmine. I think it was just Ariel and Jasmine, and they were like sparkly covers. And if you buy all of them, you get a necklace or a bracelet with each one. But if you buy them all and you mail in the proofs of purchase, you get a jewelry box. I did
Huh.
that. I remember doing that.
Interesting.
Oh, Casper. Casper was big.
Yeah.
I remember KFC had Casper toys.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
They did.
they were like glow in the dark. Didn't they squirt water? They were glow in the dark and they squirt water. I used to play with them in the bathtub.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Pizza Hut had the hand puppets for those.
See, that's cool. Those are cool toys.
They
They don't do
are.
that anymore.
They don't do
Yeah.
that. You know, the only ones that were kind of cool was like, I know we're kind of going back to McDonald's again, but
I know.
the ones that were really cool recently, and this was like in 2013, I think, but they did, I think The Wizard of Oz came back or came out on Blu-ray or something, and they did have these really cool Wizard of Oz toys, and you could get like several of the characters, and each one came with a little piece of the yellow brick road, and then you could connect them all and make like a really long road.
Oh my goodness. I remember, that's really awesome. I remember doing Snow White, something like that. You get the coal cars, and then you can collect all the cars. Oh, or Looney Tunes or something, and you move the cars, and they all move, and they have to move together, and you have to get all the cars or something. And Tiny
Yeah.
Toons. There was a kids show, Tiny
Oh,
Toons.
Tiny Toons.
And Muppet Babies,
Oh, yeah.
and Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Animaniacs.
Yes. Okay. Wow. This is why it's all over the place, because stuff just pops in that I haven't thought about in a very long time.
I know. That's why the 90s is so awesome.
There's so much in there, yeah. Okay, oh, we were movies.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the ones I think outside of Disney, outside of the obvious, outside of Disney and such, and Power Rangers. Anastasia.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I hate Barbies. I never liked Barbies when I was a kid ever. I was a stuffed animal girl. But I had one Barbie, and it was an Anastasia one, and I never took it out of its box. I treasured it, and I took it everywhere, but I never took it out of its box
Oh, wow.
because I loved it too much. Anastasia was big. I actually liked that probably more than most Disney movies. That was my movie.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I think, oh shoot, I haven't seen that in forever, but I think, I remember watching it years later, like a long time after it came out. I think I was in middle school, and for whatever reason, we watched it one day, and I remember like thinking, "Oh, this is such a great movie." I don't remember it being this great, but yeah, that's a really good one.
I remember seeing that in theaters because it starts out with the real bright clouds, and it's like really bright, and it says Anastasia on it. And I remember seeing that in theaters and it lighting up the entire theater.
Very nice. And I think you mentioned The Mummy earlier. Wasn't that like 1999?
Yes, 99. Yes, that was big for me. Big. And then Mummy Returns. We're moving into 2000 here, but it's connected. The Mummy Returns, I bought the trading cards, and I remember getting the big binder that you mail away for, being a big deal because you have to mail away for things. There's no eBay or you can't buy it online. You have to mail away. And same with the princess thing. You collect the proofs of purchase and then mail it away, and then they mail you a jewelry box. Like there's nothing like online shopping at all, and so you do it that way. And
Nice.
back to cereal. I'm jumping everywhere. The cereal. Remember how you collect so many cereal proofs of purchases, and then you can mail away for like a cereal bowl or something.
Oh,
You get stuff. Yeah, I remember doing that a lot too.
Yeah, that was great. And one thing I remember, and this is something I have looked for online over the years, and I've never ever been able to find it, not on eBay, not anywhere. But I wish I could remember what cereal it was, because that would really help to narrow it down. But there was this one cereal that came with a series of outer space posters, and the one that I got had like a family of aliens, and it sounds kind of lame, but it was actually really cool because it had like different scenes of like this family of like realistically styled aliens, and they were doing different things in different scenes. And I remember that just being like a fun poster, and I had it on my wall and stuff. And somehow or another, I lost track of it over the years, and I don't know what happened to it, but I've been trying to replace that for a long time, and I cannot find it anywhere.
Wow, I have no idea. I don't remember. But that's crazy. You can get a poster in a cereal box. Like, whoa.
Yeah, that's how cool they were.
Yeah. I remember choosing cereal based on the toys inside.
Oh yeah, of course.
Definitely.
There were like I remember some spoons that would change color and stuff, and you'd put them in the milk.
Yes, and I remember I remember the time where the toy used to just be in the cereal. Like you had to dig in the cereal to get the toy. And then
Right.
they started putting in a little baggie in the cereal. So you know,
Yeah.
started digging for the baggie with the toy. Then they started putting it outside of the cereal in a baggie, probably because that was so like not good. They were
Right.
like, does not meet standard. This does not meet code. They had to put the toy in the baggie outside of the cereal. And then eventually it just disappeared completely.
Yeah, then they started doing no toy at all. And you know what's funny is I actually bought a box of cereal maybe like a month ago or so, and it came with a comic book, like a little comic book in there.
Mm.
I was like, huh, haven't gotten something in a cereal box in a while.
Still not as cool as like the spoons, as you said, the color changing spoons and such.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are.
there were some really fun toys from time to time. But yeah, The Mummy was one that I remember. I remember our theater was doing like a double feature, and I think we saw that, and I think it had like Notting Hill was the movie they did before that or something.
Wow.
And I went and saw that with my family, and then at school, like our whole grade level went to see The Mummy too. Like after that,
I made my birthday party go see The Mummy
that's
Returns as the
hilarious.
sequel. That was my birthday party because I loved it so much. The Mummy, my first experience with that is my dad rented it from our town rental, and he just started watching it, and I went upstairs to see what he was doing, and it was on. I was like 9, and I was kind of like, this is a little scary, so I left. And then, I mean, I don't know why it's just been such a big thing. I remember not really like being into it the first time I saw it, but then something happened, and then it became my favorite thing ever. It was at my birthday party there.
Over on the East Coast, did you guys have Peter Piper pizza?
Nope, I
No.
don't know that.
Okay, that was a big thing, and I associate that very much with like early 90s as well, late 80s, because that was like the place to have your birthday party, like when you were like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having like, maybe it might have been like pre K where I had my birthday there, but that was like the thing to do. Like if it was your birthday, like everybody in town, all the kids wanted to have their birthdays there.
So is that like Chuck E. Cheese?
It's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, and but the pizza's a lot better. It's a lot better
Uh,
than
I,
Chuck E.
I
Cheese.
never
Yeah.
liked I never liked pizza. I always got hot dogs at Chuck E. Cheese. But yeah, Chuck E. Cheese was a big deal. I had lots of parties there. I remember my kindergarten when I was 5. I was going into kindergarten, and I got all my school stuff for that birthday because my birthday's in September, early September. So I got all my school stuff for my birthday, and I was at Chuck E. Cheese, and I got all Lion King everything, Lion King backpack, Lion King everything was going into kindergarten.
Nice. Yeah, Lion King was so awesome. Um, so you said that you didn't like pizza. Is that still the case?
Yes, it's still the case.
Oh my goodness.
I don't like red sauce very much. I guess the other kind of pizzas, the ranch pizzas and the olive oil pizzas are okay, but then it kind of turns into a flatbread and it's not really pizza anymore. And it's just I don't like the way pizza makes you feel after you eat it either. Kind of gross.
Huh. I've
I'm
never
not
met
a fan of
anybody
it.
that said they didn't like pizza. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. I don't drink pop either,
Oh wow.
or soda, or however people say it out over there. But yeah, I don't like pop. Hate it. Hate it. Even at McDonald's, I would never get it. I'd get like Hawaiian Punch or something. Hate the fuzzy stuff. It always hurt my throat. No
Oh
pop
wow.
and no pizza. I was a very strange eater when I was little.
Sounds like
I
it.
kind of still am. I eat like a 95-year-old lady. I mean, like my favorite foods are old people food. I don't know where it comes from.
But yeah, going back to the movies, let me see here.
Yeah, back to
Yeah, the obvious ones, like you mentioned, the Disney ones. I mean, those were some of the great. Even to this day, those are like probably the greatest like Disney animated features of all time.
that's
And
before Pixar. That's before Pixar.
that was before Pixar. I think the
Mhm.
first Pixar there was Toy Story. I think that was like maybe
Right.
'96 or something.
Yeah.
And then that was the only one for like several years. I don't think they did another one for a while. But yeah, those were huge. And let's see, Jurassic Park, obviously. Don't need to get
Yeah.
into that one too much. They followed that up with The Lost World. That was in '97. And let's see, yeah, Power Rangers is one you mentioned too. And I mean, I was a huge Power Rangers fan also. Let's see what else.
I Actually, I think I might have been a tad too young for Power Rangers, but my neighbor across the street was 1 or 2 years older than me, and I played with them a lot, and they kind of brought me into the Power Rangers land, into that, and without them, I might not have really been into it as much. So,
Oh, well.
luckily, I'm glad I'm into it because luckily they were a year or so older and kind of taught me the ways of the Power Rangers.
Gotcha. Have you seen the new movie yet?
I did. I just saw it a couple weeks ago. I only saw it twice because I saw it with my dad and then I saw it with Josh, and I loved it. Yeah,
Nice. I haven't seen it
I
yet.
loved it. It did. I loved it. I mean, it wasn't like epic because the 95 version, oh my gosh, that's epic. This was like modernly okay. It was good.
Let's see what else. I was big on the Batman movies too when I was a kid. For whatever reason, I was really drawn to Batman. I have no idea why, even when I was like 4 years old. And so I would follow those back then. And in '97, they did the re-release of the Star Wars films, your favorite ones.
Mm.
And and yeah, so I got to see those in the theater for the very first time because they had been out of theaters obviously for like 20 years at that point. So that was cool. And I also really liked Independence Day. That was like one of my favorite films as a kid.
I just brought something in my mind, unrelated, but somehow popped in. Drive-ins. Did you used to go to drive-ins?
Not really, no. I don't think you know what? I never went to a drive-in. I think we might have had one like maybe like 45 minutes away that we never went to. But I actually went to my very first drive-in maybe like 3 years ago.
Wow, that's pretty cool. They still have one 3 years ago.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
there
have one
used to be
here.
one. We had a couple. I remember we had a couple, and there was one that was relatively close to me. And I saw George of the Jungle there like a billion times because I love George of the Jungle. I really love George of the Jungle, and it was always paired. Like they always showed two movies together, and there were usually two kids movies on that screen. And I think Air Bud was the other one,
Oh yeah, I loved
and
Airbud.
Hercules,
Yeah.
yes, and Homeward Bound.
Oh, I loved Homeward Bound.
That was a good one. That one was always sad, but that was a good one. But yeah, Hercules was the big drive-in movie. I remember going many, many times with Hercules and George of the Jungle together. That was a big deal. And then they
Nice.
replaced it with a Walmart. I was sad. Like I don't even know how many years after that, but yeah, Walmart's there now.
Yeah, Walmart replaces a lot of things, it seems like.
Memory crushers, just destroy it, destroy everything.
Yeah, so lots of good films, lots of entertaining stuff. And I think the one that I saw the most probably would have been The Lion King. I think we did see that one like 3 times in the theater, which would have been like the maximum.
I know Aladdin was the first movie I ever saw in a theater. I don't know what year that was.
Um,
Okay.
92, actually.
Oh, so I was like probably almost 3, depending on what time of the year does it say?
Let's see here. Yeah, it came out in November '92.
Okay, my birthday's in September, so I was 3. I turned 3. I was 3 in 2 months when I went to my first movie.
I think the first one I saw was The Land Before Time. I think that was my first movie in the theater.
I do have Land Before Times. I mentioned this kind of on other podcasts, but my dad is a computer fixer guy, and he worked for Sun TV, and that was a '90s thing, Sun TV, and he used to get broken VHSs and stuff people would bring in, or broken tapes, and he'd fix them and then make copies of them and bring copies of movies home like every day, and that's how I have so many movies, and they're all copies.
Yeah.
Oh, how about speaking of movies, Spice World, huge.
Oh, goodness. I
That
remember
was big
Spice
for me.
World
That
very
was
well.
very big for me. Very big for me.
Sure, of
And
course.
and the Pokemon movie too. But Pokemon was like more 2000. So we'll stick with Spice Girls. That was big.
Yeah, that I mean, come on, that was like Spice Girls. I mean, that was like
Oh
a
my gosh.
huge craze, like
Everywhere.
'96, I think,
Like,
or so.
do you remember? Or yeah, it's 96, 97, something like that. Do you remember going in like little store, like a candy store or something, and they have like Spice Girl lollipops, Spice Girl ice cream, Spice Girl candy, like Spice Girl everything.
Huh.
Stickers, you can get the stickers and the lollipops. I remember that. And man, Spice Girls was everywhere, everywhere.
Speaking
That
of
was fun.
music from that era, did you listen to like any of the boy bands?
Okay, this is my dork side. I didn't really, I mean, Backstreet Boys, but that was more 2000. I didn't get my first CD until the Backstreet Boys Millennium. CD. So it was already 2000 before I even bought a CD. I had the Britney Spears, her second album. I had that again. That was like 2000. So I guess Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears are my thing.
Uh-huh.
Not NSYNC or Christina Aguilera. I know that was always like the one or the other thing. So I'm on that side. But even then, it was more in the 2000s. I was never hip with music. I'm still not hip with music. The only reason I knew Spice Girls is because my friend, I mean, it's everywhere, but my friend used to watch MTV when there was like actual music videos on there. And she liked Pink. I know Pink was a big deal then. Oh, Avril Lavigne was a big deal then. I just know this because of my friend. I really knew nothing about music. I was not cool at all.
Yeah, I was kind of avoiding of music for the most part. I think it was like maybe like 90, probably around Spice Girls time. That's kind of when I started getting into music. And when I did, I really loved music because I was always buying like cassette tapes and CDs and stuff. But yeah, like earlier 90s, I wasn't really too big on any of the music. But I mean, there's a lot of like 90s specific music that I can remember. And, the music at the time had a very specific sound that's way different than anything now, of course. But yeah, it's just funny to think about that. Like there was very specific sort of, especially like some of those dance songs that, like from the earlier 90s.
Yeah, I know 90s music has a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people, but I somehow totally missed it. I mean, I was such a dork. I listened to the oldies, the 1950s and 60s music. That's what I listened to in the 90s. Literally, that's what I was
Nice.
over my grandma's house. She used to like record the radio on a cassette, and it all the oldies station and would play the cassette of the oldies music, and I loved that. That was my 90s music, was oldies from the 50s and 60s. That was my 90s music. So
That's
I have
awesome.
no recollection of what was actually popular.
No, that's really cool. And that was kind of the case for me to an extent because, like, we'd go to like our grandparents' homes and they'd be listening to similar stuff. And I grew up in Texas, so a lot of the time they'd be listening to like old country music from like the 50s and 60s. So I'm very like well versed in that sort of
Yeah.
music. But yeah, that's very interesting. So I think that one of the best things about the 90s was the toys. Like, as you know, I played with so many of these things growing up, and constantly I'm adding things to my collection still. During those years, toys they were more about play value than anything else. They came in all sorts of shapes and sizes with all sorts of accessories, and they always interacted very well with other vehicles and play sets and other toys. There were just so many things from many of the TV shows and movies that we discussed, and they were very fun all the time. They were very, very fun. What are some of the toys that you most vividly recall from the 90s?
Do you remember a Big Frank? Do you know what Big Frank is?
Big Frank. It sounds familiar, but I'm going to need to Google that one.
In preschool, I remember we were allowed to pick one toy to get from Santa in preschool, and I picked a Big Frank. When you Google it, you'll be like, okay, that's a weird kid. But that's what I wanted. And he was like this plastic, rubbery Frankenstein, and you can open his chest, and there'd be like plastic nuts and bolts in there, and you can like put it together, and you push buttons in his chest, and he'd talk, and his eyes would light up. That was the coolest thing for me. And like his head, you can like open up his head, and that's where the tools were, where his brain should be. I don't know. It was the coolest thing for me when I was like in preschool. That was my choice. Always into scary stuff apparently.
Yeah, I see that. Big Frank. I think I do vaguely remember this. I just don't remember it all that well.
I mean, and then you had like what, the Easy Bake Ovens and the creature ones where you have these are games that they would never allow kids to have now. But like you have the gooey stuff that you bake in the oven and you get spiders and stuff.
Yeah, creepy
that would
crawlers.
So not be allowed. Yeah, creepy, yes. And the domino rallies and Grape Escape. Did you ever have Grape Escape?
Grape Escape. I don't think so.
That was a Play-Doh. It was a game. It's a board game with Play-Doh, and you make these little Play-Doh people, and you play the board game. But then there's like all these dangerous things that your Play-Doh has to go through, like a sawing in half and a guillotine, and like all this stuff that your Play-Doh has to survive.
Oh.
Tornado Rex. Do you remember that?
Tornado Rex.
These are all board games.
I can't say that I remember that.
It wasn't really a board game. It was a mountain that you build. You have to see board games in the 90s are not just board games. You have to build them. They're like Mousetrap and stuff. You got to build the board game, and it was a mountain, and you have to go up the mountain, and then if you get something, a card or something, the Tornado Rex guy comes and destroys you going up the mountain.
I think you mentioned you had a Power Rangers toy or something.
Oh yeah, I had the Green Ranger toy, like not huge, but maybe 12 inches or so, and he'd make noise and his eyes would light up.
Nice. Do you remember there were like these mini toys? There was like a Polly Pocket and Mighty Max.
Oh, Polly Pocket! My older girl cousin had those, and I got those. I wasn't big in that. Oh, there's like My Little Pet Shop or pet store.
Yeah, I remember
that. I don't know. I guess I wasn't too big on toys now that I think about it. It's not too much is really coming into my head.
Right on.
Other than board games. Board games was a big deal.
Yeah, board games were cool. I remember we had like Sorry and Candyland.
Yeah, and video games. So I didn't really have any toys because it was more video games, board games. I had a Godzilla. He like move his tail and he does the Godzilla roar.
Oh wow. I think my brother might have had that now that you mention it.
My aunt got it for me because she really liked Godzilla. So she bought me it. It makes total sense. I mean, she really liked it, so I got it.
Nice. Well, as you know, I'm big on toys. I mean, it's a huge part of my hobbies, so collectibles. That's one of the best things for me about thinking about the 90s is remembering all the awesome toys that were out there. And earlier in the 90s, it would have been dinosaurs. I was obsessed with dinosaurs. And as I think most kids are, for at least for a time. And I had, there was a company called Imperial, and they're still around, but they don't make the dinosaurs anymore. But they were very like generic looking dinosaurs, and you could get them anywhere. I think most of mine came from Walmart, and they were fun. I actually remember, this is kind of going off a little bit, but there was one that I had in my backpack on the last day of kindergarten. And for whatever reason, on that last day, I just forgot my backpack at school. I have no idea why or how that happened, but I did. And before the next school year began, my mom took me back and we went to the custodian's office, and he had the backpack, but the dinosaur was gone. So I was like, no. But yeah, dinosaurs were huge. And I had a few. I didn't really have Barbies either. Like I think we had some that we played with, but not too many of them. But Batman, I had some of those figures. And then Jurassic Park, that was like really, really big in our household. Between myself and my brother, we had quite a few of the dinosaurs and stuff. And, and I still have them to this day, of course. And I was very particular about my toys. You mentioned that you had a doll that you would always keep in the packaging and take it with you like that.
Yeah.
Like my Jurassic Park dinosaurs, like the bigger ones, I still have the boxes they came in, but I did take them out, but I would never get all rough with them or anything. So to this day, they're like in almost perfect condition.
Oh yeah.
Which is,
see, those are the ones, like those are your favorite ones if you take care of them that much. Because yeah, I had my Anastasia doll that's still in its box,
nice.
Very carefully in there.
Yeah.
Do you remember Tickle Me Elmo when that was a thing?
Yeah, and Furbies
I got that.
Oh,
random things are just popping in my head, but yeah, I remember. And Gigapets. Did you have Gigapets?
Oh yeah, I had a Gigapet. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a Gigapet.
That was like one of the very first like computer type toys.
Yeah.
It was interesting. But yeah, the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, what was really cool about those is that I mentioned the other company that I had, Imperial Dinosaurs. And a lot of the dinosaurs I had came from like flea markets, and they came from garage sales, things like that. But when the Jurassic Park dinosaurs came out, these were like unlike any other dinosaurs that we would have had in our collection. So it was just like a huge departure from all of that stuff. And I think that's why they were very special. But there were those, and then there were, like I mentioned, the Happy Meal toys and the hand puppets and all that stuff. And Power Rangers, I didn't have a whole lot of toys for Power Rangers, but I had maybe like 2 or 3 figures, I want to say. Like I remember this one that it had the helmeted head on it, but then you would rotate it and then the human head would pop up or something.
That's cool. I kind of want that now.
Yeah, you could still get those on eBay. They're not too expensive, actually. And there was Mighty Max, Polly Pocket, And I think we mentioned the creepy crawlers. That was
Yeah.
always fun. And
All those like oven baking ones that would so be illegal now. Like, no, you can't touch hot ovens. What? And there were like metal things in there too. They're not. None of it was like safe. It was all metal trays, hot metal trays that you put in there and then take out hot metal
right.
trays.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
And
did you ever have a Dr. Dreadful food lab? Do you know what that is?
you know what?
Dr.
I think
Dreadful.
I did. Yeah, I know exactly what that is. I'm gonna have to look it up to look at some pictures of it. But
Yeah,
Doctor
you like
Dreadful.
it's like a little lab. They have different ones. There's a little lab, and you make candy, I guess, kind of. But it was like gross candy and food. If it was all in like skulls and stuff.
I'm pretty sure I had this one. Yeah, this is the one where you would eat the brains.
Yes, it was so cool. And then you'd run out
Yeah,
of the food packets, and you'd be sad because now what do you
yeah,
do? You can't have any food packets.
exactly.
But those were fun.
I think this was also the one that made Monster Skin. I want to say.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I can. When you said that, I remembered what it tasted like. Is that
Yeah,
weird? Yeah. As soon as you say those things, I remember what they smelled like, what they looked like, what they tasted like. Oh my goodness! Wow, that goes back.
totally. I kind of want one of these now.
Oh, those are fun.
Probably wouldn't be safe to eat the foods now, but
That's a lot of things that toys were. I mean, when you say toys, I know you're talking about the figurines and stuff, but that's where my mind goes to those kinds of things. Not necessarily board games, yes, but those kind of domino rallies and the Dr. Dreadfuls and the Easy Bake Off and the Creepy Crawlers. Those were more my toys. And so, if you look at it, a lot of it was like food. A lot of toys
yeah,
had to do with food, and they don't do that anymore. I don't think.
I don't think so. But yeah, I mean that's what's so great about '90s toys is that there was something for everybody, and they were all over the place. And they weren't the most detailed toys. They weren't like now where you get all these really fancy looking toys with a lot of detail, and the likenesses to the movie characters are usually pretty good. Like the stuff back then wasn't about that. It was just about like interacting with other toys or having stuff like these sorts of ovens and stuff, where it was all about the playability and giving the kid a good experience with the toys. And I think that's what makes these so memorable.
Yeah, I definitely say playability because nothing was that simple. I mean, it sounds simple, but everything was very interactive. And even the board games I was talking about, they're not just you open a board game and roll a dice. I mean, the games I had, like the Tornado Rex, you had to build the mountain before you came to play the game. And the Grape Escape, you had to build it before you could play it. Mousetrap, same deal. You had to build the game. It was all 3D games, like board game. It was all huge, and you had to actually build it before you played it. And there's not really much like that anymore. It's like a lot of detail went into it, even though um, it's not as the stuffing as detailed as you said now, like with the faces and such. But it really was more detailed in a way because you had to interact with it more, no matter what it was. It was a board game, it was a food lab, or it was a toy. Like you could interact with it more.
Right.
Lots of playability. Yeah.
Looking here at the picture of Mousetrap, I totally remember this now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I still have my mouse trap.
I don't know that we ever had this, but I really remember the commercials. Like those stand out in my mind.
Okay, here's something. I got this for my birthday when I was 8. It was, I don't know what it was called, but it was some kind of jewelry that was, you get it and it's in little rocks and you have to dissolve it and then you get the jewels.
Huh.
A lot of toys in the 90s were interactive in that way, and in the sense that you get it one way and then you do something to it and you can't go back. Like the food. Once you eat all the food on Easy Bake Oven, what do you do? All the
Sure.
Dr. Dreadful food, what do you do? Now, this was the same with the jewelry. Once you dissolve all of the rocks to jewelry, what do you do? That was a lot of 90s toys were that way, I think. You had to do something, and then once you did it, you're like, well, now what? Like, can I buy more to dissolve? What is it?
Yeah, because some of these games I think had to have had like refill packs or something, or maybe those came
Yeah,
later.
that was the thing. Refill packs were probably a big deal because almost everything, even the Grape Escape game I was talking about, that's Play-Doh. Like you have to have refills of Play-Doh because it doesn't last; it dries up. So everything, all those games back then, really had a refill factor, or you just didn't play it anymore.
Yeah. Do you remember this game that was like a picnic basket and it had ants in it and then it would like spin and the ants would like launch out and land on these little like plates and stuff?
I didn't play that, but I did play cootie, I think it was. When you build the little cootie, I guess you build a little ant thing. I think it was in the same realm. It was like the same company did a lot of those games. And because I think on the back, in the back, it used to say, find these other games by us. And that one was on the back of the box, but I didn't play it. Breaking the Ice, I didn't play that either, but it was on the back of the box.
Yeah,
Of the
I
same.
remember seeing that too.
Oh, here's one. My cousin had this game, and it was like polar bears on ice or something, and there's penguins, and you have to jump from the ice. It was a board game, but it was like an elaborate one, and you had to go to the different icebergs, and that's how you got across the board.
Huh.
It was like a polar bear. Wow.
Oh yeah, I
She
see
also had
that.
a Barbie game that I haven't. That was the same kind of. It was pretty interactive as well. Oh my, this is wow, long time ago.
I kind of want to go on eBay now and see if I can buy some of these games.
Dude, those are cool games. Like now, board games are so flat now. I mean, these are really cool interactive things.
I
Now that I
know.
think about it.
The polar bear one looks really cool. I mean, it has these little bears and these little ice cubes, and
What's that called? Because I need to remember. I need to look that up. Yeah, I'm okay. I see this. It looks similar, but you're right. It's newer because hers was a lot more elaborate. Again, look at these. These new versions are like flat. Hers was a lot more elaborate. Let me actually do this one. Polar Dare. Yeah, that's what it was.
polar
Here it
bear.
is. Here's an old one from the '90s of kids playing on the back, and the little. Oh my gosh, the little penguins. Oh wow. Yeah, they
Ah,
all
yeah,
have
I
little
see that.
colors. The Polar Dare. Oh man, I used to play it over at my cousin's house. Wow.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. It has like a mat, and then it has all the little pieces of ice, the little different colored penguins on there. I want that.
Yeah, I never had it, but I remember my cousin had like everything. So I'd go over her house and play everything.
They're pretty cheap. It looks like. Let's see. Well, I think these are open. Oh no, there's a brand new one sealed. It's like $35. A little expensive, but it's not terrible. Very interesting stuff. I feel like I should go through eBay and research all of these games and
Yeah.
see if I can track some of
Wow.
them down. Because yeah, I mean, now that we're talking about that, these games are just incredible. I mean, especially like compared to what we get today. I mean, these are just so detailed. Like you can tell that whoever designed these sat there and put a lot of time and detail and engineering into all of these.
There's multiple pieces to all of them. They're not just a board and some pieces.
Right.
There's here's her the Barbie one she had was Barbie Dream Date. I just looked it up and that looks exactly it. I just had to see it and I knew exactly that was what she had. And
Let's see. One thing I did want to get to is, and this is kind of maybe some. You mentioned earlier that you weren't big on like on sodas or on pizza and stuff like that, but there were some pretty unique snacks in the '90s, and drinks and stuff like that. Is there anything that stands out to you?
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually going to bring that up because I do have a couple of snacks. The I think they're like checkerboard Cheetos. Those were a big deal because they were like thicker than regular Cheetos. There was like extra cheese on them, so that was cool. And the Oreo Pop Tarts.
Oh yeah,
I know pop wasn't a big thing for me, but I know Surge was a big thing for people.
I remember
And like
Surge.
the blue ice Pepsi or the Mountain Dew or something, and the drink with the little balls in it. I never drank that,
Huh? I don't remember
but I
that
remember
one.
it existed. What was it called? Orbits or Orbit? It was like Orbit, I think. It was clear drink, but it had little colored balls in it. I don't know what the balls were. I never drank it. I don't even know if you could drink the balls. I think it might have like prevented it from going through the hole or something. I have no idea.
Do you remember Kudos bars?
No.
That I was actually thinking about these the other day. I don't know what prompted my mind to think about Kudos bars, but they're kind of like granola bars, but they're more than anything else. They were just like healthy, like I say that with quotes, sorts of granola bars. But they had like chocolate in them. Some of them had like Snickers pieces, I think. And it was they weren't really like healthy, but I guess compared to
Oh,
like an actual candy bar, they would have been better.
what about those like all the gummy stuff, like the Gushers? Do they still have Gushers?
Yeah, yeah, they still sell Gushers.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I guess that was popular then, though. And then the strings, the string gummies.
Let's see. One of the candies, while I looked that up, that I remember though were Airheads were pretty big.
Oh, yeah, I never liked those. Warheads, though, I liked. The sour ones.
Warheads were good, yeah.
I liked those.
So I like sour candy, or at least at the time, I liked sour candies a lot.
Oh, all the gum, like the tape, the gum that was tape, bubble tape.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bubble tape.
That was good. Oh, the ring pops, that was good too. I don't know if they still have that stuff or not.
Oh yeah, ring pops. Yeah, those were those are so fun.
Mhm.
Sour punch. It looks like might have been the long ones. I think.
Oh, popsicles. Do you know did you ever have the twist popsicles? Like they're one color and then they have a string of twists of another color around them.
Yeah, I
And they had
recall
a
those.
plastic instead of a wooden stick, it was like a plastic stick. I used to have those over my grandma's house. I remember those.
Those fruit by the foot too. I think that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was that. I wonder if they make that one. I haven't seen that one. Probably not. But nerds were really big in the '90s as well.
Oh, are they not big anymore? See, it's hard to say what was big then because I feel like I don't know if things are still big now or not.
They
Um.
still make nerds, but I don't think. I mean, I know like when I was a kid, like back in elementary school, they were like really popular. I don't
Oh,
know.
how about the Wonder Balls? They got like banned because they were dangerous or something, but they were by Nestle Wonder Balls, and they were chocolate, hollow chocolate with little what are those called? Like little candies inside that were like Flintstone vitamins, but they
Oh
weren't
yeah, I
Flintstone
see
vitamins.
that.
Yeah. And they had like Disney ones and Pokemon ones, and I think like some kid choked on it because he didn't know that they were inside or whatever, so they banned them.
There's a Minions one too. I wonder how recent those are.
Oh wow. I think they're still sold in Canada, but they're like banned in the US. Or
Uh,
maybe it's the other way around. One way or the other. They're banned someplace. What about the colored ketchup? Did you ever have colored ketchup?
yes, there was like the green ketchup and the purple
Yeah.
ketchup, and they tasted exactly like regular ketchup, but
I
they were
know.
just different
They
colors.
were like they seemed tastier or something. I don't know. I remember when Shrek came out, they had the green ketchup was a big deal with Shrek.
Yeah, I don't remember them tasting any
Um,
different. I kind of remember having it and being like, it's not really a big deal. It tastes the same. But I remember my mom was kind of grossed out though.
Me and my aversion to red sauce, I was not a ketchup fan, so I didn't really eat much ketchup. And I mentioned this to you before, but just so it's on record, the Mickey Minnie Disney popsicle things,
Yeah,
those are big deal.
they were for
They're
a long
very
time.
detailed.
I
Hmm.
remember those being like out. Well, I mean, I remember they were really big for like a decade or something. Like they were around like late '80s and probably like I don't know. I don't know if they still make the same ones now, but yeah, they were like shaped like Mickey Mouse and Minnie and Donald and Goofy, and they were each a different color. And
Yeah.
yeah, those were huge. My dad would always buy those for us.
Oh, the string thing. I just found it. That's the string. Google fruit string thing or something like that. The gummy string thing. That's what it's called.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I totally remember
That's
this.
what.
Yeah,
Yes.
and these would come on that little paper, and you would have to peel it off. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's what they were. Oh, and then push pops. Those push up. I don't know. I don't know if they still have those push pops. The Flintstone
Oh, those
push
are so
ups.
good. The ice cream, yeah.
Yeah, they still. I don't know if they still make that or not. Oh. Do you remember the little They were like squeeze tubes with sugary gel that comes out of it, and their colors.
Yeah,
They're just literally sugar gel coming out of squeeze tubes.
yeah, I remember
That's what
those.
that was cool in the 90s. Yeah, I remember those.
And there was also like the let's see, I think the little bottle caps or like the little root beer shaped things.
Yeah. When you said bottle cap, do you remember Pogs?
Pogs, yeah,
Pogs.
yeah, I remember Pogs.
Yeah. I don't know what were they for. I just had them, but I didn't know. Was there a game involved? What were
Yeah,
they
there
for?
was a game like you'd have to have like a bunch of them, and then you could, I never really got into them all that much, but I remember like some of my friends had them, and they just had like these long tubes, and they'd be full of Pogs, and I'd see them playing, and I don't really know what the exact rules or what the exact purpose of the game was, but I mean, a lot of people were into it for a while, and Pogs would come like I think in cereal boxes sometimes, and other places. But yeah, I remember Star Wars Pogs, like those kind of stick out, but I never really got into any of that stuff.
That was another thing with my neighbor because got a lot of them from him, I think, When you're a kid, things just end up in your possession. Like you don't know how you got these things.
Right.
You don't know if you stole them from other kids or people left them over your house or something. But you just end up with things that you don't remember getting. And I remember ending up with a lot of pogs, and I don't know where they came from, but I have a lot of them.
Well, here's one that I'm seeing right now. It's Shark Bites Punch Candy.
Oh, they had similar popsicles, didn't they? That were shark popsicles too, and they
Um,
were like all white, like great white popsicles, and they were all flavors, but they didn't tell you what the flavor was
huh.
because they were all white.
Possibly.
What's that?
Like these ones
Mm,
are like gummies. But
yeah.
yeah, there might have been popsicles too. Oh, okay. I think I see what you're saying here. There's one called the Great White, and it's like the shape of a
Yeah,
shark. And it says the flavor is white lemon, whatever that means.
yeah. Like I remember you open the box and it's a mystery of which one's the white one or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it says that here. It says, well, this is a different one, but it's called the same thing. It's Great White, and it says cherry, orange, and mystery flavored juice ice pops.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There was another. There were these Minute Maid popsicles at the time too. Do you remember those? There was like an orange, a red, and a grape one. And they came in these little like cartons. Kind of. I mean, it kind of almost the
Like
texture was the same as like a milk carton.
like a little triangle
Yeah, yeah. It was
kind
a
of thing.
triangle, and you'd push
Yeah,
them
I used
up.
to get them at school. Like you'd get them at school all the time. Then have them at lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Oh, so awesome.
Oh, and the Nickelodeon green slime popsicles. I remember those.
They had Nickelodeon Gak too, but it was like it wasn't a food. It was like a toy sort of thing.
Do you remember the shoes that had like they were Nickelodeon shoes and they had the slime in them or
No,
something?
I can't remember those.
I had these. They had different ones, but I had ones with a heart on them, and it was like purple slime in the shoe. Like you could move it around, and there's actual gooey stuff in the shoe
Oh wow.
itself. There's like Nickelodeon slime shoes. I don't know if mine was Nickelodeon. It might have been a knockoff brand, but it was the same idea
Wow.
of the slime and the shoe
As far as shoes
inside. And
goes, like I remember Nikes were a really big thing in the 90s, and like that was kind of the benchmark at a certain point, like as to how cool you were is if you had the latest pair of Nikes or latest pair of Air Jordans.
I remember the gel shoes that gave you blisters, like lots of blisters.
Yeah, the jellies. Yeah.
Yeah, those are
And
painful.
and then there was also like LA Gear, which had the lights in them.
I never had the light shoes. I always wanted the light shoes, but I got a lot of hand-me-downs when I was little, and I got my cousin's hand-me-down shoes, and the lights were broken by the time I got them, and I was sad.
I remember they stopped making them like for a little while because there was like some issue where they had mercury in them. So they stopped.
Oh,
Yeah, they stopped making them and they were off the market for like a year or 2 years, and then they brought them back and they didn't have mercury anymore.
see, that's another thing I feel like we experienced just with our generation because we were right at the end of when things were not safe. Like people didn't really care about safety that much. They weren't concerned with it because like with the easy bake ovens and such of everything being edible and hot and no real safety on that to
Right.
10 years later and they're banning like everything and you could see that like with the cereal boxes the toy was in it then the toy was in a bag in it then the toy was outside of it in a bag and we kind of had a whole 20 years so of who cares, do whatever you want, have fun, come back before dark, and then 10, 20, 15 years later or so, and it's like, okay, we can't put toys in cereal anymore, that's dangerous. We can't do this, we can't have Wonder Balls, it's dangerous. Like, we kind of experienced that in
Yeah.
about 10 years or so.
Yeah, totally. It's like everything's like so bubble wrapped now that, you just can't. Seems like a lot of kids can't get that same sort of experience of just being a kid. And you even see
Oh,
that
yeah,
like
even more so.
yeah, totally. Even like in theme parks, like when you go to Disneyland, like they're always like improving like safety, not just for like employees or, kids, but like for employees too. Like they're making the rails higher and they're making more layers on the different rails and stuff. And I mean, it just seems like there's
Yeah,
always more and more like safety type things that are being enacted.
and anytime, I guess there's a lot of stuff that's grandfathered in, but anytime you renovate something, I mean, to bring it up to code, you have to practically bubble wrap the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of insane.
Yeah,
It's good,
totally.
but it's insane to a point. I don't know. I mean, we were fine. Our parents were fine, and look at them. They didn't even have seatbelts in cars.
Right.
So,
I remember like I think we had a station wagon like very early in the 90s, and it had one of the seats in the very back that faced like backwards rather than forward.
mm,
And I remember like they would totally not make a car like that now or allow kids to ride in something like that, but back then you could do it and it was fine.
do you remember the inflatable chairs, the inflatable everything?
Yeah,
They had inflatable chairs and inflatable couches, and like everything was inflatable, and that
yeah,
made
that
it
was
cool.
big for a while.
I remember that was a thing.
And like clear phones.
Oh yeah, I had the clear Nintendo 64 controller. I have a clear Game Boy as well. Everything was clear. Yeah, clear backpack. Oh my gosh, I had a clear backpack in 5th grade. Yeah,
Yeah,
clear was a thing.
they made us do clear backpack. Well, it wasn't like clear, but they made us do mesh backpacks when I was in middle school because I guess they thought
Oh,
it was going to be like a. I guess they thought it was just safer to have like kind of sort of see through backpacks, so that's what they made us do.
oh,
Yeah. So, do you remember when Aliens were really big? Like in the like '97, like when the X Files was out, like Aliens was like a huge like craze.
I remember X-Files being on TV at my cousin's house. She liked it. She was 2 years older than me, so that might have been a thing for her. But no, I remember it being a thing, but I was never really into it. I was more in ghosts and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, yeah, ghosts too were always cool for me. I mean, maybe not so much anymore, but growing up, I always was intrigued by the idea of paranormal.
It's still a thing for me. I listen to ghost stories when I'm at work. Like when I'm on the night shift, I'm there listening to ghost stories on YouTube.
Oh
Big thing
gosh,
for me. Still,
that's creepy.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Anything paranormal, I do. I try to do ghost tours. Everywhere I go, I see if it's haunted. Like I'm so into it. I'm asking for a big Frank when you're in preschool. Clearly, it's somewhere ingrained in me.
Yeah, sounds like it. So this brings us to 3D Dinosaur Adventure. Now, this was a CD-ROM game by a company called Knowledge Adventure, and for some reason, you're one of the few people I know that actually remembers it. And I remember when we got our Packard Bell computer, and I think this might have been like 95 or 96, and this was one of the games that it came with. And it also had Undersea 3D Adventure, it had Space Adventure, and 3D Body. And they were all made by the same company. But even though I enjoyed those other ones, the dinosaur one is the one that I remember the most fondly because it was my favorite. And being a big dino nerd, especially, it really satiated like my need to learn about dinosaurs and spend time playing and learning about them. And what do you remember about Dinosaur Adventure, and why do you think it was such a great game at the time?
See, here's where it all blurs together for me. Really, all blurs together because I don't know what games came with my computer. I don't know which ones my dad brought home because he was always bringing them home. He was always bringing computers home. So I never knew what was bought, what came with it. So when you know about 3D Dinosaur, this game, I'm like, oh, finally! Like I never know what came with the thing or whatever. But wow, okay. This I watched Jurassic Park for the first time around the same time I had this game, and Dinosaur Safari, and my Build a Dinosaur, and this other dinosaur game that I can't remember what it's called or how you play it, but it's like a little thing that runs across the screen and you have to like get it. I don't know. This is where everything meshes together into dinosaur land for me because I even thinking about the 3D dinosaur, I know the pieces of it. I know that there's the save the dinosaurs thing. You have to rescue them. There's the T-Rex that runs in place, and you put on your 3D glasses, and music plays. And I remember changing the skin of the dinosaur, but I also remember building a dinosaur with bones, and I remember Dinosaur Safari, and I remember like the dinosaur running game, and so they all blur together. So I don't know what part of what, but I know that and Jurassic Park for me all happened at the same time. So I don't know if I liked the games first and then my dad's like, oh, well, here's Jurassic Park, or if I liked Jurassic Park first and then my dad's like, oh, well, here's some dinosaur games, or maybe they all just coincidentally happened together.
Sure.
I'm not sure, but that's a big blur circle of dinosaur land for my childhood, like that year or so, couple years. I don't even know how many years it was, but that's why 3D dinosaur is so important because it's in that bubble of full dinosaur mode for computers, for movies, for toys, like everything. So I couldn't even tell you what specific elements are in the 3D dinosaur because I had so many at the time. They all meshed together, but that was huge
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it was such an awesome game. I mean, like you said, there's so many different components to it, and probably what I remember the most about it is uh, there was this little. It was, I think it was called like maybe like the dinosaur theater or something like that. But it had all these video clips of these realistic dinosaurs that would be doing different things, and those dinosaurs were actually made. They were videos, but they were made of these dinosaurs that were robotic, that were created by a company called Dynamation, which isn't around anymore. But I remember seeing those when I was like a really little, and the first time we saw them was in a museum, and I remember being like freaked out. I made my parents like take me out of there. But I begged them like to when they came back like a few years later, they came to the zoo, and I was like, oh, let's go see these. And so this company Dynamation made these dinosaurs, and for whatever reason, for 3D Dinosaur Adventure, they decided to use them in all of the little video clips. And I was able to make that connection. I was like, oh, those are those dinosaur robots I remember seeing. And that was part of why I really enjoyed this game. But I mean, even just thinking about putting the disc in the computer, and like the first thing it would say was, like, get ready, put your 3D glasses on. And then all of a sudden the T-Rex would come running towards you. And, at this point in time, in the mid 90s, seeing this like on your computer, it was like the most amazing thing.
Oh, and to have 3D glasses. Wow. And then they weren't even the good 3D glasses. They were like
Right.
the red and blue ones that were just
Yeah.
terrible. But yeah, wow. This was around the same time. Oh my gosh, were your glasses okay? Whoa. Were your glasses orange and they had little dinosaurs on them? Is that what they were? They were
Possibly.
bright orange.
Hmm.
This had to be the same time that, okay, here's another weird thing. You remember America's Funniest Home Videos when
Oh,
they
yeah.
did a 3D special? Or maybe Home Improvement did, like the TGIF day, I think they did a 3D special, or it was a big deal that your TV that day would be a 3D thing, and they gave you glass. I don't know where you got the glasses from. I don't remember, but I remember it being a big deal. And I think around then was the same time 3D dinosaur was happening. So we had two pairs of glasses. One that went with the TV for that special TGI Fridays deal, and a special for the dinosaurs. And I think the dinosaur ones were orange with little black dinosaurs on them, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the glasses because, like I said, it was the game was kind of manufactured by this one company, Knowledge Adventure, but they also had like other games included. There was like Undersea Adventure 3D and 3D Body, and I think if I remember correctly, the glasses maybe said Knowledge Adventure, and I think one side said dinosaurs, and the other one said like Undersea or something like that. But I don't have them anymore, and that was such a long time ago. So but that's kind of what I'm remembering.
And maybe those little orange ones with dinosaurs on them were something completely different. I don't know. Now I don't know, because like I said, it all blends together. This whole little dinosaur of everything just blends together, because my dad would literally just pick up dinosaur things and bring them home from work or something, and he'd be like, here's a new one, here's this, and then I'd play them all at the same time, and they all just kind of meshed.
Yeah.
So I don't know where those little orange ones were for. Maybe they even were for a book or a 3D book or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been. Now in the game, there was this this part you mentioned, the Save the Dinosaurs, and it was like basically a series. It was very confusing. Like I remember when I first played it, it was like as a kid, I was like, "What's going on here?" It was a series of hallways, and you would just go like it felt like you were going in circles, but you had to find all of the dinosaurs in there in order to rescue them before a comet came and like wiped them all out. And you were kind of racing against the clock. If you were able to find all the dinosaurs, you would save them, and the voice would be like, "Yeah, you made it." And if you didn't, it would be like, "Oh no, all the dinosaurs died," or something.
It made you feel terrible. That's right, because you like killed them all, and it made you feel horrible that you killed all the dinosaurs and weren't able to save them.
Such so
Yeah.
crazy. And I mean, this game had like an encyclopedia where you could go and learn about the different species of dinosaurs, and it was very thorough. It wasn't just like T-Rex, Stegosaurus, Triceratops. I mean, this is how I learned about a bunch of more of the lesser known species of dinosaurs. Like I think it had like Coelophysis and Maiasaura, and all these more like obscure dinosaurs that are a little bit less commonly known, but it had a very deep encyclopedia. And then it also had this. I think there was this other game where you'd have to like mix and match the different parts of the dinosaur, maybe like to make a complete dinosaur.
Now, is that the bone thing, or am I doing something completely different?
It might have been the bone thing. It might have been.
Because I remember you can mix a different dinosaur head with different middle and different hands, different tail, different legs, and you have maybe all the popular dinosaurs you go through, like Triceratops. You go Triceratops with a Stegosaurus body or something, and you used to be able to name them. I remember making them for people and like naming them after people, printing them out, and then giving them to those people. Because I made a dinosaur and put their name on it.
Yeah, I think that might have been something different. Sounds a little. I think this was more like where it had like a picture of each of the different dinosaurs, and basically you just kind of had to like select you kind of had to match them up to like say, hey, this is this dinosaur, that's that dinosaur. And it was kind of one of the more boring games as I recall, so I probably didn't play it a whole lot, but
yeah, I don't remember that. I do remember there being sections of the game I never clicked on because like the encyclopedia and stuff, I was like, okay, that is too like hard, and I just want to see dinosaurs. Like, that's too much. I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been one of those that was in that area. But yeah, there was the one that you mentioned where you would dress up the dinosaur like in different kind of skins, I guess. Like you could put your dinosaur like into like a zebra sort of skin or a giraffe sort of skin, and just make it look different. And that was fun. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, obviously it wasn't very scientific or anything, but
didn't it like talk to you like every time you picked a different skin? Didn't it have a different voice or like?
Yeah, it did.
Talk?
It did. Like they would talk to you and say something. I don't remember what they would say, but yeah, they would talk to you.
It was like some outrageous thing. Like if you put it in a weird color, like, no, I don't like that color or something like that.
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
Yeah, wow. See, now I wish I knew the names of these other games because, yeah, the Build a Dinosaur and then oh man, this one game that I don't know if it was part of a game or what, or a piece of a game, but it was a little dinosaur and it was a weird game. You could never really win or play it. It just like went so fast across the screen and you had to use your little arrow keys and you'd have to just get it at the right moment to avoid these obstacles, but it went so fast that it just will go whoop whoop whoop, like done, you can't beat it, and it's just like milliseconds over and you're like, wait, I didn't even get to do anything, and it's like you lose like every time. And I think we only got through it maybe once in my life, but I guess it wasn't part of this because you have no recollection of that, and I wish I knew what it was. Maybe my dad would remember. I brought it up to him, so we joke about that sometimes.
Yeah.
That dinosaur game where it just goes whoop, done, like you don't even have a chance. It's and then Dinosaur Safari, huge. It's like Pokemon Snap of the day because Pokemon Snap. You ever play Pokemon Snap on
no, I don't think so.
Okay, that was a big thing for me as well. But it's like you go. It's a dinosaur game, and you go around the world and you click different scenes, and you have to wait for the dinosaur to appear. And then you take a picture, and you get graded on how good your picture is. And then you get crystals, and then you get to go to different times, like the Cretaceous period and all the different periods. And the more crystals you get, the more dinosaurs you get to explore, and the more places you get to explore. And there's not always a dinosaur there; like you have to click around. And sometimes you have to revisit a location. It was very, very, very cool. You have to like revisit a different location. Hopefully he's there. Then they come across. You got to snap a picture. Some of them you have to snap a picture real quick because they'll come at the screen and like you'll lose points if it hits you or something. Because they'll be like the Carnotaurus was one that was a dangerous one. Oh, wow. And I mean it was a really, really. I think when it came with Windows 95. I think it came with it, but I could be wrong.
Interesting.
That was a very, very cool game.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to explore some of those other games. I got curious about this 3D dinosaur adventure. Because obviously, even if I had the game now, there's no way I'd be able to play it. But if you go on YouTube, there's actually like a bunch of uploads of the different videos and of gameplay of what the game entailed. So I was kind of feeling really nostalgic looking back at those.
Oh man, I should do that. What's funny, because like I said, Dinosaur Safari was so important. That's how I learned my dinosaur names, by the way, because there's a lot of dinosaurs in this game. There's 50. There's a lot. and that's how I learned them, and it was a big deal. And then when I had my Windows XP, I kind of wanted to play it for nostalgic reasons, and since my dad knows computers, he hooked it up so I could play this Windows 95 game on my XP, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And that was a really cool experience to be able to play this game on an actual, like, good desktop XP,
wow.
good, relatively good desktop computer from a game from 95. So that was pretty fun.
Oh, that's
That was the
awesome.
last time I played it, though.
Oh,
I
this
don't know if you
is
could do it on, like, the Windows 7. I don't know if you could do it on that, because you need, like, that special um, image card, and it's all, like, digital
right.
now or something. I don't know.
Ooh, this is really cool. So there's this website. It's called playdosgamesonline.com. And it looks like you can actually play 3D Dinosaur Adventure on there.
Oh, man. That's amazing. What is it?
It's called playdosgamesonline.com. And the way that I found it is I just typed in 3D Dinosaur Adventure. And then
Wow.
that's like one of the first things that came up. So it looks like you just load
Okay.
it. Yeah. So I'm going to definitely need to spend
This
some time on that.
is okay. Okay. Whoa. So you can play other DOS games too.
Yeah.
So, whoa. Shadowed Fields. Like, these are going to be, there's probably going to be games on here that I haven't thought of in forever, and I would never think of unless they popped up on here.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's cool. This is good find. This is going to be fun. It's going to be like my day tomorrow.
Yeah, probably me too. Um, Gosh,
Oh,
yeah, that's
wow.
awesome. I never expected that this would be online, but now that I know it is, I'm gonna spend some time like looking back at that and yeah.
Oh man, yes, this is my day. This is where you'll find me tomorrow. You have all these categories and stuff. Oh man, I'll be here. Oh, and I bet Teen was the game I mentioned to you the other day. You didn't know that one, and I don't know if that was a DOS game or not. It might even be on here, but Keen was a really cool adventure type game. It had lots of levels, and it was really good for its time. I think it was very in depth. I mean, the graphics were whatever in the 90s, but that game had a lot of levels, and it got harder, and it was a really good game for its time. It is on here. Oh my gosh, I just searched for it. Oh, there's a bunch. Okay, I had Commander Keen is the name, and I had Commander Keen 4 because that's the one I remember. There's a bunch. Oh my gosh, Commander Keen 1 is very primitive.
Even the 3D dinosaur, it says 1994. But yeah, I mean, if anyone that's listening remembers this game, I mean, chime in because it doesn't seem like very many people are familiar with this game for whatever reason. And even if you just go to YouTube and check out some of these videos, I mean, I think you could still kind of get an inkling, even if you're not familiar with it, as to why it was such a great game, very informative, and it even is a little bit Jurassic Park-esque. Like even looking at a picture here of the introduction screen, it's like it has a gate, and then it has like these different areas you can go to explore different different things that it shows, different games, different little videos and stuff. So yeah, it's just a great thing. One of the things I remember most fondly about the 90s was definitely Dinosaur Adventure. And yeah, now that I know it's online, I'm looking forward to spending a little bit of time on it.
I do wonder though if that game and all the other ones I mentioned are products of Jurassic Park. Like they were made because of Jurassic Park. Because it seemed around the same time for me, a couple years after, but they all kind of popped up 94, 95, right after the success of the movie.
Yeah, it could very well be. I mean, I know that, like, yeah, because weren't there a couple other, like, dinosaur movies, maybe, like, made for TV dinosaur movies at the time, like, that came out, like, after Jurassic Park?
It started a craze, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It seems like sometimes, like, especially in the 90s, like we mentioned earlier, like, the big UFO craze, like, that kind of came about after X-Files was released. And, there was Independence Day movie, and then there was Men in Black. So it seems like during the 90s, like those were two big things: dinosaurs and like UFOs. Um, but yeah, I guess that's probably what kickstarted it. Would have been Jurassic Park, and I'm trying to remember this other movie now that we're discussing that. There was some other movie that had like little dinosaurs in it or something. The name of it's on the tip of my tongue, but I cannot remember it. Was it Prehysteria? Could it have been that? No, maybe. Wait, oh yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, that's what it was. Prehysteria.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of
I
that?
don't. I don't know that at all.
1990. So yeah, that would have been before Jurassic Park, but that was an interesting one as I recall. But yeah, I mean, gosh, there's so many things that we've covered here about the 90s that we recall very fondly. So much nostalgia. And I mean, I'm sure we could potentially talk a lot longer about all of this stuff and so many other things.
I think we covered like pretty much all of it, though, I would say. I had a lot of things on this list, and we pretty much got it all.
Yeah, we definitely hit all the major things for sure. And yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be something special about being a 90s kid. It was like a unique and exclusive club in a way. And it's just so fun talking about all these things we love and remember so fondly. So Jen, thanks so much for joining us today. And before we go, can you tell our listeners a little bit about what you do at the BDH Network?
Okay, sure. Well, it's where I spend my entire life, basically. It's obviously Bryce Dallas Howard Network. It's her website and Twitter and, oh my gosh, Facebook and YouTube and too much that I got myself into. But it's grown into this huge thing, and I work very, 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 very hard on it all the time. And I think it's coming along well. I mean, it's cool. I put a lot of work into it, and Bryce likes it, and she's involved somewhat. I mean, I guess not really on the forefront, but she's behind the scenes a lot, and like we talk about things a lot, and so that's cool. And yeah, it's like my livelihood for almost about a year and a half now. I've been doing it, but it's super fun, and I love doing it, and I can't see myself not doing it. And we'll see. I hope it like evolves. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know where I'm going with it. But it's really cool, and it's a lot of work. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do all the time. I'm always there.
Yeah, and the work really shows too. I mean, your website, you can definitely tell that you put a lot of time and effort into it. I mean, it's all really great stuff.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, like right now, I'm trying to make the gallery all high quality, and that's what I was doing before our call. I'm currently in 2007 right now, and because I inherited my gallery, I inherited it from an old site that lost its host, and so I've been trying to fix a lot of it and put care into it, make it all high quality as much as possible, and that's a lot of work goes into that. I mean, none of it really shows through because people don't know I'm doing that, but it takes a lot of time and effort to fix a gallery like that, picture by picture. Oh my gosh, but that's what I do like all the time, and it's fun though. I love that. I love doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if our listeners want to go a little bit more in depth and find you online and check out the website, what's the best resource for them to do so?
You could follow me on Twitter at Jennifer_Lynn89, and the Bryce Dallas Howard Network is BDH Network on Twitter, Instagram, and the website is brycedallashoward.co.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, it's been a blast having you on the podcast this week. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and reliving your childhood with me.
Yeah, I mean that was fun. I love that you understand all of this. It was awesome. I loved reliving it as well. Thanks for having me.
All right, my friends, that'll do it for the 8th episode of the Cantina Chatter podcast. If you've enjoyed this conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. You can also download this podcast on SoundCloud, Podomatic, and iTunes. Be sure to visit Jennifer and the Bryce Dallas Howard Network online. I will throw some links down below. Thanks again to Jennifer for joining us today, and as always, catch Victoria's Cantina on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, bye-bye.